Hey everybody, in this video in the MPLS Layer 3 VPN config, what we're going to do is create the VRFs, the virtual routing and routing forwarding table. So this is a virtual router that will carry all the routes for the customer across this MPLS network. So the way it's sent over the network is through BGP, the iBGP in community strings. It's sent as a community, and that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to start configuring that part of the MPLS service provider layer 3 network. So again, this is all just the service provider. This is not something you'd have to deal with if you're a customer and just ordering MPLS. So just keep that in mind. All right, so if you could subscribe to my channel, I'd appreciate that. So please take care of that. Thank you. All right, let's jump on each of these edge routers. So we're going to go to P2, P4, P3, and P5 to create the VRFs. So let's start on P2. And I type, so Control Shift 6X, Control Shift 6X. Let's see if we can kill that. Okay. All right, so let's do enable, show IP interface brief. Let's just get a lay of the land here. So again, we have Ethernet 00, 172.16.2.2, and the loopback 172.16.10.2, a 32-bit IP address. Let's show run section OSPF. Let's take a look at that. So we are advertising the loopback, and okay, yeah, we can do that. That's fine. And we're advertising the 2 and the 10. So all in area 0. So that's all set up. Show IP route. Let's take a look at the route table right now. Route table, we have connectivity to all the other routers, 2, 3, 4, 5, all through 1. And that's 172.16.2.1. So there you can see our connection right there. So everything is going through here to get to any of these other routers in the service provider network. Show run, let's look at the BGP section. So right now for BGP, we have router BGP 64600, BGP log neighbor changes, and we have the neighbor 10.1 remote AS 64600. So it's using so we didn't add a router ID. We probably do want a router ID, but right now we have 176.10.1. So we're using the loopback and update source loopback. Okay. So that's good. So let's do a show IP BGP. Show IP BGP neighbors. Let's do show IP BGP summary. And there you can see that we've been running this for a little while, and messages received and sent looks good. Good communication. BGP, iBGP is working. Of course, there is not going to be anything in the table in the rib because iBGP has a administrative distance of 200, whereas OSPF has an administrative distance of 110, which you see right here. There's the metric for OSPF. So that's what we're seeing right now. So let's continue and let's create these VRFs. Okay. Conf T. So VRF definition, and we're going to have cust1. That's going to be one of our connections that we're going to use. So cust1, and the route distinguisher, we'll just use 1 for customer 1. And then we're going to go into address family, IPv4 unicast, and we'll create a route target, import 1 route target, export 1. So these are the communities that will be imported and exported into the VPN v4 in BGP that will transmit the routes that it's going to receive on the edge and send them through the provider network and out to the other side, which will also have this VRF on it. So that's one of our VRFs, and we're just going to create another VRF. Let's do that. VRF definition. Let's exit out of there. VRF definition, and we'll call this cust2. So very similar. This is how you're going to, if the service provider will set up a bunch of customers, so they could have cust1, cust2, up to however many customers that are on this router or connected to this router. Okay, so route distinguisher is going to be, we're going to do 2. And then we're going to go to address family, IPv4 unicast, and route target, import 2 route. Let's see what else is here. Route target, export 2. Okay, so let's see, let's end, show, run. Can we do a section VRF? I don't know if we can do that. Yeah, we can. Okay. All right, so that's perfect. So we have these VRF definitions. Now what we're going to do is we want to put them on every one of these edge routers. So that's P2, which we just put it on, P3, P4, and P5. So let's complete that task. So conf T, and we should just be able to paste that in there. So we're just adding them on each of these routers. P4. And P5. Let's do that. Okay. Let's end, copy, run, start, and copy, run, start. Okay. And copy, run, start. P3 and then P2. Copy, run, start. Okay, we've saved everything. So now we have our VRFs defined out here on the edges. So now we will define the actual connection, the IP address to the customer. So we're gonna create an IP address here on this router, and then we're gonna figure out where we're gonna connect this. So, for example, if we want to connect it into this switch, right? We could go into a firewall with this. It's going to be a provided subnet by the service provider. They're going to give us a subnet that we're going to connect into. We're going to order a circuit. It's going to be installed, and we're going to connect it into a router. You can also connect it into a firewall if your firewall can do routing protocols. Should be fine. You don't have to do anything crazy with VRFs on the customer side, because the VRF is really only for the service provider because they have a ton of customers, so they have to keep those routes separate. So that's why it's like that. So what we're going to do though is we're going to connect it from one of these routers into this core switch here. So let's say this is the core. And this is also a way to do it. So there's different ways you can do this. It all depends on your needs, but we're going to treat this as a private, private network, and we'll hook that up and set that up and put the routing protocol on here. And what we're going to do is we're going to run iGRP across this network. So if the customer is running iGRP, then we're just going to add this in, and this will then send those EIGRP learned routes across to another site, and then have full reachability through this MPLS network. All right, so the VRFs are done. All right. So in the next video, what we'll do is we'll start configuring EIGRP on these edge routers with the correct network that we're going to use for this, and we'll then connect it to the customer. All right, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Please subscribe. Thanks.